For greatest common factor, make sure that you are jotting down that it's also called the GCF. This is total review from middle school or even elementary school. Finding the greatest common factor of 20 and 30. So make sure you're writing all this down. I do my factors like this, 20 and 30. What numbers multiply to give me 20? 1 and 20. What other numbers? 2 and 10. I try to go in order, so I think, is there something, 3 times something gives me 20? No. 4 times something, yes, 4 times 5. And you don't have to keep going because we have all the factors here. We don't have to put now 5, 4. It's not going to give us any new numbers. Let's go to 30, the factors of 30. 1 and 30, 2 times 15, and then I think 3 times 10, 4 times nothing, 5 times 6. The greatest common factor is the biggest number you have listed for both numbers. So when I look back, I think the biggest number I have is a 10. So let's try it again. This time we're going to find the greatest common factor of 9x squared and 15x cubed. So let's just take a minute and work with the numbers first. 9. 1 times 9. 2 times nothing. 3 times 3. That's it. 15. 1 times 15. 2 times nothing. 3 times 5. 4, nothing. Nothing else. So the greatest common number that I have is 3, I guess, is the biggest number they have in common. But now let's look at the variables. One of them, and I set them kind of up the same exact way. One of them has x squared, which means x times x. One of them has x cubed, which means x times x times x. How many do they have in common? So you kind of want to group them. Well, I have 1 in common. I have another 1 in common, and that's it. So I have 2 in common, x squared. 2 x's in common, but you got to think of it as x squared. Let's try another one. What is the GCF of 24x cubed y squared and 20x to the 4th y? So think of the numbers first. These numbers are always going to be there, 1 times 24. If it's prime, that's where it will end. If it's composite, there'll be more. So I know 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6, that's all of them. 20 is 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 3, 4 times 5. Biggest number that I have in common looks like it might be 4 that they both have in common. Now I got to look at my x's and my y's. You can kind of put the variables all together if you want. Or you can look at each variable separately. I'm going to put all my x's and my y's together. You just got to be real careful when you write. X cubed y squared means x times x times x times 2y's. Y times y. This, I'm going to have 4 x's and 1 y. So how many do I have in common? We want to group them. I've got an x. I've got another x. I've got another x. And I've got a y. That's all that I have in common. So when I go back and think about it, I had 3 x's in common and a y. So therefore my GCF is 4x cubed y. So have you practice. Let's have you practice now.